This is the brand new 4K Obsbot Tiny 3 Lite. Now, they also sent me this. This is a microphone system that's wireless that works with this camera. And we're going to test out to see how well these two items work, and we're going to do a tutorial because I don't normally do OBS. So I do know how to use it. I've got two OBS systems running right now as we speak. However, I usually use a video switcher with a recorder when I'm doing these type of videos. So this part of my video is using a video switcher. I'm not running this through OBS because I haven't taken this out of the box yet. But I have set up another studio with an OBS system with a gaming laptop. I'm going to show you how this camera will work with that. So we're going to go through the setup procedure. I also got an Elgato Stream Deck that works in conjunction with one of these so that you can switch scenes and things of that nature and even do some controls on the camera. So having said all of that, let's go to the downward shot, get these out of the box and see what you get in the box because nobody's ever seen one of these before. And there we go. And we're going to need to cut some stuff because I have a feeling there's a seal. Yes, there is. Put that on there. So this is the Tiny 3 Lite. Now they also will be coming out with a Tiny 3, but this will be the cheaper, more budget-friendly version. And I'm all about budget gear, so this is why I was interested in this one. Now this has got some AI in it. Of course, a lot of stuff has got AI, but it's got the 4K. You're going to have a Tiny 3 Lite, USB cable, USB-C to USB-A adapter, so it can work with the USB-A, which is good. I'm going to be utilizing that. User manual, warranty card, all that other good stuff. It feels like here. Okay. Oh, here we go. All right. So we're going to just lift up the flap, move it over here. Oh, it's packaged really well, of course. I bought other things from Obsbot, so I have bought a lot of their equipment before. I have actually one of their other webcams. It's not a gimbal style like this. This is the user manual, very well done. Comes in different languages. We'll be checking this out. And we've also got hand gesture control on this as well. And here is the camera, and I'm just going to flip this over like so. So it's very small, but not too small. Of course, you have some more tape back here that you got to remove. There we go. Because it looks like there's some kind of a light or something back here. And it has a 1/4 here. And it looks like this pops out. Okay. Well, this is interesting. And then we have a USB-C connection here. And this looks like it's got some kind of a rubber coating. So you could literally just hook this on the back of your computer like so. And I'm just going to see if this works like that. Or you can connect it to a tripod. So we're going to find out. A little tricky to get that out of the box, but we got it out. Okay, so what's in this box? Probably some cables. I'm guessing some cables. Let's see what kind of cable that they're supplying you with. Okay, so it comes with this little adapter and a USB-C to USB-C cable. But now we have this. So we've got this microphone. Now I do a lot of wireless microphone reviews. I'm an engineer, and wireless microphones, I'm quite familiar with, you know, how good these are and how well they work, but this is the first wireless microphone review that I have done on one that is dedicated to a camera that is just for streaming. So that's kind of cool. So as I've said in many of my other wireless microphone reviews, is that every microphone is a tool, a specific tool for a specific job. So if I was to use this camera in my regular studio over there, I would probably grab this instead of using the DJI system. So if it's designed to work with this camera and that is the workflow, then this is going to be something that I would use. Let's take this out of the box and see. Okay, we've got a seal here. And what have we got written on the box? We got a transmitter, charging dock, clip, furry windscreen. That's unusual that you get a furry windscreen. You're mostly going to be using this inside. Magnetic clip, magnetic necklace, USB-C power cable, and a carry pouch. Okay, very well. Well, I'm excited. I want to see. Why is there a furry windscreen? Don't know. I'm destroying this box. And there is the pouch. Everything is inside the pouch, by the way. And then you got your manual. Anything else in there? Nope. Okay. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. Zipper. And everything is in here. We've got cables. I've got more hardware. Looks to be the microphone. And we have the furry muff. I don't know why they put that in there. Maybe you can take this outside. Very similar. This is a similar style clip to another microphone. I believe it's like the mic mini. Looks, the way that clip is reminds me of another one. Okay. Necklace. Okay. And then of course you got magnets. That clips on there. Okay, interesting. Interesting how that works. I'll have to try that out. See how functional it is. Oh, I'm getting attacked. And then we've got... Okay, so this is the charging cradle. So we'll have to charge this up. This is going to be a cable, no doubt. Yeah, cable. USB-A to USB-C. And here is the microphone. It's very small. Very small. The wind muff clips on. Okay, so that's how it clips on. The fingers go in the back and the furry side, so you can read it there. And they've got some advertising on it, but you know, when you look at DJI microphones, it's no different. Most brands do that. Some people just cover it with gaff tape. There's the charging, sits in the cradle, faces this direction, so you're going to have it face away from the charging port when you're charging it. The cradle's really nice. Cradle's really nice. Just sits flat, charge it up, you're good. So what's going on with this necklace? Okay. You clip that on there like so, very similar to the DJI Mic 3, clip it on, and then there you go. So we'll try it out. Once you get it clipped on there, it's good. It's not coming off. I like that. And then you've also got the ability, to my understanding, yeah, you can just do this too. So you don't have to have this clip. You can just clip it right to the necklace, which, to my knowledge, should be fairly easy to just wear around your neck. Okay. Sounds like a good idea. So you can just wear it around your neck, or you can clip it on like so. I'll probably just use this, just clip it on like I do with the other one. I like it. Can you charge it like that? Yeah, you can leave this on. It's got, they were smart enough to leave a slot there. Okay, gonna go back to me. Okay, so I gotta do some firmware updates to see if there's any latest firmware, and of course that takes a long time. I will let you know how that goes. This is initial firmware update, so there's no reason to show you what that firmware is, because this has never been sold before. So I have to make sure that there's no bugs, no glitches, that sort of thing. And if there is, I need to get in touch with the manufacturer and let them know if there was any issues. And if there was any issues, I will be transparent and I will let you know that. Got some reading to do. So the next time you see me, I won't be in here, I'm going to be out there. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you what the OBSBOT Center app looks like. And here it is over here. I'm just going to drag it in the middle of my screen and circle it. And if I click on it, I will activate it, and it's going to look for devices. It's going to connect to them automatically. It's showing camera 3 right now, camera 2 right now, and it's got camera 1. So all 3 cameras are there. So if I click on camera 1, this is the Tiny 3 Lite. And I've got the lavalier microphone connected. Now, I need to let you know a few things about the OBSBOT Center app. So if you're doing video conferencing, or if you're doing meetings, then you're going to just need this. You don't need to have OBS to do that. OBS is more for people that are doing content creation, recordings, gamers, that sort of thing. But if you're just using this for a video conference, then you'll probably use this app by itself. So this is multiplexer mode, where I'd have camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4. Now the reason why you can't see me is because I'm screen capturing everything using OBS, and you can't have them both running at the same time. Now this would be single camera mode here. It's a feature I do want to show you, and it's really cool. And I can show you, even though we're using OBS, is they have a teleprompter. Yeah, so even though I can't use the video preview, I can still use the teleprompter, and we can just hit play, and there you go. So I can look at the camera. I've got a full teleprompter, and if you were in a meeting, you can see I can make this transparent, make it go away, and this is so that you can still see people on your screen. And you don't have to worry about, not looking at them or noticing what they're doing. But in this mode where we're using it, this is how I would use it. I would just set this to here. I'm going to look at the camera and read this, and away you go. And that's how the teleprompter function works. You can control the scroll speed, all the other functions, and it's included with the OBSBOT Center app, which is free. Other than that, we use this control panel to control the camera systems within OBS. Go back to OBS, and then I activate this. Now you can see the control panel, and that's what that looks like. So let's take a quick look at the Elgato Stream Deck, because this is another thing that we're integrating into the OBSBOT Tiny 3 Lite. So if I click on this, now I have my control panel, and over here you have all of your different functions and your plugins, and over here you have your apps and your controls. So I can control the volume of the computer. I have tutorials over here where I can learn about how to use the Stream Deck. So if you're not too sure how to use it, when you get it, you'll have built-in tutorials. And these are the camera functions that I'm using in conjunction with the Tiny 3 Lite. And I've also added some scene transitions, and I'm even going to show you how to add your own app, which will be this HDR one later in the video. So that's what that looks like, and you can change all of the functionality. Oh, and you can even drag it to the last one. For instance, there's scene transition. So if you want to change the position, you just click on this and hold it, and you can drag it. There's all kinds of things you can do within this app. So this is also designed to work in conjunction with the Tiny 3 Lite. So we're just going to get out of here, and I'm going to move this back here. And now we're going to go into OBS, and I'm going to show you what I've done. Okay, so now we're in OBS, and this is my OBS setup, and I'm going to show you what my computer screen looks like right now, just briefly. So I'm going to set it up on screen capture, and I'm going to transition. So this is what it looks like in my screen capture here. So you can see my little mouse going around, and that's me, and I've got all these transitions going on, and I've got this also. So I'm going to grab, now I'm just going to grab my Obsbot control panel, and I'm going to come right back to OBS. There we go. And then I'm going to bring this up. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, and I'm just going to have to block over here. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is for the simple reason is it's got some different settings. So I've got 3 cameras hooked up to this now. Before we go any further, I just want to let you know that Obsbot did send me out this at no cost. However, the other 2 cameras, the other 2 Obsbot cameras are mine. I own those. I also own the Stream Deck. As a tech junkie, I really like to play with stuff before it's available in the stores. I confess, I really enjoy that. I like to do the testing. I like to see the problems, that they have to work through and things like that. So, and there hasn't been a lot of glitches or anything like that with this camera. They have done an excellent job. Now, there has been some bug fixes that they've done in firmware updates, but nothing major. So I was really impressed with the level of programming, because there's a lot of programming in this thing. And so I'm going to go to the control panel for the Tiny 3 Lite. Now, it doesn't have all of the features that the Tiny 3 has. However, it does have things like zone tracking, and it does have microphone controls and tracking speed and things like that. So I always keep it on slow, because a lot of people don't like it when your camera tracks too quickly. And you've also got voice tracking. But if you look back here, there's also voice assisted tracking, so sound assisted tracking. That's what this is called over here. And what this does is I'm just going to put it on here, is it says when the target is lost, the PTZ camera will rotate and relocate the target, detecting the human voice. So it's just like if a person was in the room and you started talking, they know where you are, because they can hear the direction of where the sound is coming from. And that's really cool. So you can just do straight up voice tracking with it as well, and hand tracking. You can either do left or right. It's got presets, and we'll get into those in a second here. And then we've got wide, medium, narrow, and you can adjust the zoom on here as well. So now I was very blown away by this camera, so much so, and I'm just going to go back to me. So we're just going to transition. So I was so blown away by this thing, my hair just went. No, I'm just kidding. I needed a haircut, but the thing is that as a sound engineer, it really did impress me. So it's got some really good audio, and
you know, the microphone is, you know, I tested this thing like, and I'm going to show you exactly to the extent that I tested this wireless microphone. So I think you'll be surprised. And I'm going to get into the audio controls, and I'm going to explain how a sound engineer would look at what they're trying to explain, because they're labeling them one thing, but from an audio engineer, we recognize it as something else. Now I'm going to just call up this one here. So yes, we are in warp speed, just to let you know. And yeah, I made all this. This is all custom, and I did this. And this one here, the one with me around it, that says Obsbot Blue Collar Guy, and I made this other one. You can make these too. They're not that difficult to make. I left one without it just to show you. I can actually make turn things on and off. So if you don't want the stars anymore, I can shut the stars off, and we just have to go like this, and the stars are now gone. So and if I want to bring them back, then I just go like that and they're back again. How about that? So that's pretty cool. I can shut the frames on and off. So here is the one frame, and I'll shut that off. And then the one that's around me, I can shut that one off. So that's what that looks like. So, you know, we can click things on and off as we go. And how you do that is you actually lock the frame with yours together. So that's a different video, but I just wanted to show you that. I thought it was kind of cool. So let's get into the audio controls, because I want to show you the audio controls. So I have to go back to computer capture. And we're going to call up the audio controls. And I'm going to show you the difference. So I think we have to go to more. And there we go. So we've got some here. So if you look here, I've got my levels. I've got 86% on here. I can click on this and I can put built-in microphone. So I'm just going to start at the beginning. So this is pure audio mode. So from a sound engineer's point of view, this is a flat equalized profile. So it's an omnidirectional profile, but the EQ has been set to flat. This is good for, you know, music, things like that, so that you can adjust things at a later time when you're doing remixes and that sort of thing. So this is where that would come in handy. And it's not something you normally would see on a webcam microphone, I'll tell you that. So I was kind of impressed. There are 3 capsules, by the way, in this webcam, and they are able to do what I refer to as selectable polar patterns, but not in the traditional sense. So in the traditional sense, selectable polar patterns would have a physical switch, but here we're using digital signal processing, or DSP, to accomplish the same thing. So this one's called spatial audio mode, and how I would categorize this one is a spatial microphone, kind of similar to Zoom has one where it's designed to catch more ambient sounds, like, you know, birds chirping, that sort of thing. It's a very cool effect. So, you know, you just want to capture all the sounds around you. That is, you know, they sell, the microphones they sell for just that task are quite expensive. They're about $300. So the fact that they added that effect is kind of interesting. Then you have smart omni mode. So this is, again, still omnidirectional, but it's now focused on people's voices. So they're playing around with the EQ and the DSP. So if you have a group meeting, things like that, everyone's voice will be heard and recorded, and you're all good. Then you have directional mode. This is my favorite one. So if I wasn't wearing the lav mic, this is the one that I'd be using, obviously, because you can hear that it sounds really good. It's a cardioid pattern, and that's what I would put this at. So we're not in an omnidirectional pattern now. Now it's a cardioid pattern. It is focused on me. And this one here is dual directional mode. And this one is what I refer to as a figure 8 pattern. Now, they've described these things a little bit differently, and I think it's from a consumer-friendly point of view, but I'm looking at it from a professional audio person's point of view. So this would be a figure 8 pattern, and you use this so that you'll capture my voice, and then the person directly opposite me. So the person on the opposite side of the microphone facing me would also be in there, but anything on the sides would be rejected. And they use that as a type of noise cancellation. So now I'm going to go back to the Obsbot mic because I really like this microphone, and it also has different levels of noise cancellation. So I've got it on noise cancellation medium, but you can turn it off. Now, one thing I do need to let you know, and I'm just going to queue up me for a sec because that's going to be important. So let me just get me single, me only, there we go. And I've also got the ability to do this with the Stream Deck too, and I'm going to show you how that works. So this is the microphone here. Now on, you'll see it says it's green, right? Now green is no noise cancellation and blue is noise cancellation. It is the opposite of what other companies are using for their color coding. I don't know if that was on purpose or if it was an accident. I don't know, but I have lots of wireless microphones, and usually green is noise cancellation on and blue is noise cancellation off. So yeah, but you get used to it. Now, and you can wear it around your neck, and it's got a magnet, so this just detaches like so, and you can even position it in different ways, which is also really handy. And you know, if you don't want it this way, why it came with a wind muff, I'm not sure, because I don't know if too many people that use these things outside, so in windy days. So are you going to be sitting out inside in a hurricane with your laptop? Not too sure, but they're prepared just in case. So got to hand it to them on that. Oh, the one other thing I want to mention is it has haptic feedback. Yeah, so when you turn this thing on and off, it buzzes. It lets you know. You can also assign the button to different functions, which is kind of cool. So you can either stop recording. I think you can change camera angles, like the positions, things like that. And that's really cool too. Firmware updates can add features. They not only fix bugs, but they also add features. And the fact that they're constantly being diligent on this is a really good thing. In my opinion, that adds value to a company when they're very diligent with their firmware updates. Let's talk about how the Stream Deck now operates as camera. I'm just going to switch. So now I'm going to put the camera to sleep. And I can wake the camera up. And I think I might have lost audio. So I can move the camera by hitting the button over here, hitting the button over there. So I don't have to use the computer. All right. I can raise it up. And I think it goes pretty high. And it goes down pretty low. So it's actually, yeah. And I also put different positions in there. So if I hit position 1, it automatically will go exactly where my first position is. So I don't know if you know a lot about how TV shows and things like that are made, but they always had a thing called position 1. So first positions, they would say, and then you would have everyone at a certain point and the cameras would be at a certain point. So this would be position 1. Now, if I go on here and I hit position 2, then I'm going to show you the other camera that's looking at this camera. Now, normally that other camera would be looking at me, but of course, I'm not the star of the show today. It'd be the Tiny 3 Lite. And then, of course, position 3 is the camera looking at the Stream Deck. And then if I hit number 1, it goes back to me. Now, you can do this with voice command. So say unlock, position 2, position 3, position 1. And there we go. That's how I've integrated the Stream Deck into the Tiny 2 Lite. Now I've also done a few other things. So if you look down here, I've got manual focus buttons too. And you can add all kinds of features. So when you go into your headings and subheadings, and I'll show you what that looks like. And I have to get it into screen capture here. Okay, so this is the Stream Deck control panel. Okay. And if I want to add a feature, like let's say I go over here, or here I should say, these are my transition scene features, but if I wanted to add one, like if I click on this one, it'll tell me that that's me only and that it is a preview. So I can actually assign it to program if I want to as well. And I assigned it through whatever camera I want it to control and how the scene wants to transition to. So if I go here, then it's going to say that's the camera, right? And there's the preview. So I can transition to all these different scenes using that. And I've also got some free ones too. So if over here, I've got a whole section. So just to give you an idea, if I go into Obsbot Webcam and I put the scene over, the settings over here, and then I go to here, I can set the Tiny 3 Lite, and then I tell it what I want it to do. So then if I say if I want to zoom or view or HDR on and off, I can do that. And then there's HDR. And then now, whenever I hit that button, it's going to toggle HDR on and off. And that's kind of cool. So, and it's done that easily. You just go into the camera. And if I wanted to assign a button to a different camera, I can just call up the different camera. So I got the other two cameras here. And I can just assign whatever functions that I can do with that. This plugin that you get for the Stream Deck from Obsbot is no charge. It doesn't cost any money. And it works really good. So I'm just going to get rid of this now. And oh yeah, by the way, you can also change the pictures too. So if you don't like the picture on it, you can do that as well. So look at this, I have HDR here, and I can toggle that on and off. See, it says no HDR, and that's HDR. So, and then I just go back here. And now if I want to transition my scenes, I can call up my scene that I want, and then I can just transition it over here. And then I can call up my other scene here, and I can transition that one. So if I want to transition this one here to me, and I call that one, and if I hit the button again, it just goes back to the original one. So, and that's how you hook up a Tiny 3 Lite to OBS using a Stream Deck. So the other thing I wanted to show you was that you can also get tutorials. They're right on the Stream Deck. They come preloaded. So you hit that, takes you to a website, automatically goes there. You can even call up apps. So if I want to launch anything like my OBS and stuff, if I want to shut down my computer, I can hit it with a button. So think of this as like a master controller. It's not just for controlling cameras. You can do all kinds of things with these. And this one here has 15 buttons. They sell one with like 32 buttons. It's crazy. So you can do all kinds of things. But I do like these position buttons. So if you want to really lock in on something, you can do that. And then you can just go back to me. I like the first position button because sometimes gimbal cameras, they have a mind of their own, and then you just hit that button and you're back on track. So the last thing I'd like to mention is I'd like to talk about this wireless microphone. So I thought it would be fitting to have the Tiny SA Ultra Plus. Oh yeah, it's also tiny. Check out the microphone because I wanted to know what type of Bluetooth connection that this microphone had with this camera because my curiosity was piqued. So I noticed that this microphone doesn't do a lot of frequency hopping. That means that it was a fairly stable and solid connection. It was not moving around a lot. And I would consider this to be almost as solid, if not just as solid, as the DJI Osmo Audio. That's right. So if you tried to pair this with your phone, for instance, it wouldn't even recognize it. And that was my first indication that it was a proprietary connection. So it is a Bluetooth connection, but it is a very good and stable connection. And as an audio engineer, that is very, very good, especially when you're dealing with 2.4 gigahertz because it is a very busy bandwidth. I'll tell you that. There's a lot of things on there. The other thing I'd like to mention is if you didn't want to use this camera in OBS, you didn't want to hook it up the way that I did, you can hook it up to a video switcher. That's right. So you have to get one of these, and I already own one. I also paid for this with my own money. This is an Obsbot UVC to HDMI converter. I think I paid $219 for it. I use it for when I'm hooking webcams into a video switcher through the HDMI input, and it comes in handy for that. Now, I have noticed that their particular one is very good because they're kind of like little computers. They have to do a lot of that processing and heavy lifting. And if you get one that doesn't, then you get screen tearing, jittering. A lot of that jitter is not good. And I notice that when I use this with webcams, it doesn't do that. Now, I do have built-in UVC HDMI converters in my OC GoStream, and I also have one in my Stream Deck S1 here, and that one's better, by the way. About the same as this, actually. It's pretty close anyway. I feel pretty confident using the one in that switcher. But I did notice that the OC GoStream one, it's not as high quality. What would I like to see Obsbot do to their system to improve it? Well, the one thing I would like to see is some type of backup recording, either in here or in there, because whenever you're doing any type of recording, especially in OBS, it is so easy to forget something, not toggle the right switch, and the next thing you know, you've made a whole video and only to find out, oh my God, I have no audio in the video. Yes, and this happens to not just amateurs, it happens to professionals all the time. And I'm talking about seasoned professionals have forgot to hit that switch. So trust me, it's very important. So I would think that having some kind of a backup where you're guaranteed to have some kind of a safety track would be something that would not only make the company very competitive, but a lot of people would literally run to it for that. I think that would be what I would call game-changing in this type of field. So having their app connect that way. Now, the other thing that I think that would really be game-changing is if they built their own video switchers. So a lot of people have computers. Now, I have a very nice computer. This is a gaming laptop. It can handle all of this stuff. But if you were to put all of this graphics, if you were to put all of these type of graphics on other computers, they could not handle that. So if they had their own type of video switcher that basically had several of these built into it, and you could have 4 inputs, and then it had the Obsbot Center app sort of built into like a touch panel, and then that would connect to the computer. The reason for that would be it would do the heavy lifting, plus it would free up a lot of the inputs. I have inputs on my computer, but many people don't. So one of the things that I would like to see is that type of device. I would get one myself. It would be a very useful thing because I like to do video switching, and having one that could connect with OBS so I could have this level of creativity, but the simplicity of that and the stability of that would be game changing, because a lot of people have had OBS crash on them. and some of them have not even saved their files in MKV. So that is one bit of advice I would give you. Make sure your files are saved in MKV and not MP4, or if it crashes during a stream, you'll lose everything. So I would really like to thank Obsbot for sending out the Tiny 3 Lite. It's a very nice camera. I've tested it extensively, of course, as you know, and I've also checked out other aspects to it, you know, any glitches, things like that. And anytime I had an issue with it, they had a firmware update right away and it was fixed. So, you know, that shows that they're very committed to this system. Considered one of the top webcam companies in the world. So that's a pretty impressive title. So on that note, take care, be safe at work, and I will see you at the next video. Bye.